Hi everybody, welcome to 2024. I can't believe it's another year. I've just renewed my long-term visa for a year. The time has gone incredibly quickly. Whatever you did, I hope you had a really good New Year's Eve. I was out on the river with some friends. We did the river cruise, fantastic firework display, etc. But we are where we are. We're into 2024 right now. Let's begin 2024 where we left off in 2023, and of course that's story time. Right, to start the new year, I've got 4 stories for you. One, surprisingly, a very short one, is sent in from a lady from Australia, so that's something quite interesting. And all of these stories are brand new to my channel. As I always say, I don't know if they've been sent to other channels. There's quite a number of channels have popped up this year. This is my 5th year doing this, so hopefully you haven't heard these before, and I'm going to get straight into it.
สวัสดีค่ะ
December 2019, I was living in Pattaya. I had a routine. I'd get up in the morning, go to exercise, dip in the ocean, and then proceed to have my lunch. 3 to 4 times a week, I'll go early evening to find a date. I wanted to have a date every day, but as you know in Pattaya, dates cost money, and I was on a budget. So I figured the best way to go was to find a girlfriend. I was not a newbie, and have heard all the horror stories about men trying to make a relationship with a bar girl or a working girl. I needed to find a legit woman, not somebody from the industry. One day, I stopped at a noodle stall on the street. The woman working there was about 45 years old, still lovely, and the conversation flew. We exchanged line IDs. Next day, she texted me saying, "I've resigned from my job after 6 years. We can meet tonight." I was surprised as she wasn't a young woman. I thought, odd story, I have to be careful with her. We met in Treetown and she came along with a friend. I thought there was nothing unusual about this because sometimes Asian women bring a friend on a first date to have a second opinion about the man. As we were looking for a place to sit, people approached my date and asked, "You're not cooking today?" and telling me I was lucky because she's a great cook. Everything aligned with her story. I was pleased. So we sat in a bar, a quiet corner, not a sleazy bar, and the conversation was good. I even brought her a dress from a motorcycle selling clothes on the street. As we were heading back, I was surprised that her friend said her goodbye and she proceeded to spend the night with me. I did not expect that, but no complaints from me. She stayed with me overnight and the aerobics were great. The next morning, she turns to me and said, "You pay me." Boy, I did not see this coming. I thought you liked me, I replied. In Pattaya, every man has to pay, she replied. I did not argue. I paid her and I sent her on her way, knowing I will not see her again. On another day, I bought some sandwiches in 7-Eleven and proceeded to look for a place to sit and eat. I walked by several massage places where the women were trying to lure me in. I was not interested. Then, in one massage parlour, there was just one woman sitting on the bench outside. She actually asked me if I can give her a sandwich. I did not mind. So I sat with her on the bench, shared my food with her, and talked and we laughed. After we ate, she asked if I wanted to have a massage. I guess the conversation and the good vibe did the trick and I proceeded to go inside. It was not a sleazy massage place, but hey, it's Pattaya. After we were done, she asked for my line ID. The next day, she wrote she has a day off and we can meet. We met in the evening and the first thing I wanted to know is, why did you ask for my line ID? She probably meets a dozen men every day at work. Why me? You shared your food with me, so I know you're a good man. A note to the listeners, for first impression, being generous with Thai women can take you a long way. We had a dinner and after that I asked her if she would like to go to my room. She refused and stated, "I'm looking for love." I was surprised thinking, you're working in a massage parlour, you already see me when you massage me. As she could read my mind, I felt she's getting upset as she added, "I'm not a sale lady in Pattaya." This was her way to say, I'm not selling anything other than massages in Pattaya. I assured her I understand and we partied with a smile. A couple of days later, she texts me again, "I'm free tonight." We set a date and after dinner, we walked hand in hand. I asked again if she wanted to go to my room. "What for?" she asked. I tackled this with, "I just want to be happy." This time she agreed. We went to my room and spent the night together. In the morning, she laid it out to me. I work every day from 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. and I get a day off every 10 days. This is perfect. Now we had a routine. She would come every morning before work to my room where we had breakfast, had a quick aerobic session, and after that she proceeded to work. On New Year's Eve, she had a day off. We spent the day together, then went back to my room to party. We were on the balcony of the second floor and I played Isan music. She danced for me. The girl knows how to party. Suddenly, she noticed that the people in the street stopped and enjoyed her performance. Embarrassed, she pointed at me, shouting to them, "My husband," and ran into the room. I ran after her and we jumped into bed laughing. We were happy. Days after that party, I got a message from home telling me there was an emergency and I needed to go back home immediately. I went to talk to her and she burst into tears. I said, "Don't worry, I will be back," and she regained her composure. I was back home and we continued to be in touch on the Line app. Unfortunately, the pandemic started, and on top of that, when trying to contact her now, the chat said, "You are the only one here." Basically, I lost contact with her. I was stuck and was not able to go back to Thailand. Fast forward 3 years, I was back in Thailand and living in Bangkok. I went to visit friends in Pattaya. I was walking the street and a motorbike came behind me. Then I felt a tap on my back. I turned round and there she was, my former girlfriend. We quickly catch up. She's not working as a masseur anymore and selling fruit on her motorbike. I was not going to lie to her and I told her I have a girlfriend in Bangkok now. She replied she has a Farang boyfriend and who will return to Thailand in 2 months. I tested the water. "Would you like to go with me?" She replied, "Cannot. You have a girlfriend and I have a boyfriend." She was an honest woman. So I guess the moral of the story is that we can't judge people. A woman that was legit asked for money and a woman from the industry turned out to be a good woman. So there you go. Absolutely right what she said. You know, in Pattaya, everybody pays for everything. I often meet guys who say, no, she's different. I met her in a hair salon, or she worked in 7-Eleven, or no, she doesn't work in a bar. I met her when I was having my breakfast. The problem is in Pattaya, I would say, let's not say all, but I would say most girls will pick up on the opportunity to earn a couple of $1,000 baht, whatever job they're doing, if they're in menial jobs most of the time. I've known it, I've seen it with my own eyes. So it's, you know, guys, a lot of guys will go to Pattaya and assume, okay, because she's working in a restaurant and I've got a date with her, you know, she's a 100% good girl. You know, she very well might be, but don't take it as, you know, 100% absolute because you didn't meet her in a bar. That's, as the girl said, everybody pays in Pattaya. Right, let's go straight into story number 2. Just a small thing that happened to me on my first trip to Bangkok. Actually, it was just a month ago. I thought it might be an interesting, perhaps even a cautionary tale for your viewers. Nothing happened in the end, and it might just be my paranoid nature, but after living in Amsterdam for 30 years, I do consider myself, let's say, educated on matters like this. I think I almost fell victim to a scam. It was on Sukhumvit Soi 4 in Bangkok, close to Nana Plaza. It's all a bit hazy because I can remember my bar tab running into the thousands of baht. I was a regular at a rather laid-back pool bar a bit further down the street. I made some friends earlier on, Koh Samui, and this bar is where we would often meet, drink some beers and play pool. This wasn't a girly bar, just a normal bar, at least compared to the others in the area. So one night, after visiting this bar for 3 nights in a row, I decided to hang around for a bit longer. The atmosphere was friendly and there were some guys from Germany I played pool with and some normal Thai ladies, a bit older, and they didn't seem too interested in the other Farangs. They were just friends with the guys who worked there, it seems, because all they did was drink and chat with them, quite normal, just what you would see in any bar anywhere around a Saturday night in the world. So later, in the night, when I was well on my way, I eventually ended up chatting and playing pool with one of the other ladies. She was already there for hours and didn't show any interest at all previously, so I thought this was one of the more spontaneous meetings. She also didn't ask for drinks. She knew the staff and was getting her drinks from them. So eventually we decided to leave the bar together and her friend decided to walk along. Nothing like straight to the hotel room thing, because like I said, it didn't seem that sort of situation. Suddenly though, she sat down a bit further down the street, apparently sick from the alcohol all of a sudden, and there were these two guys around me who I recognised because they were hanging around the same bar earlier. One of them spoke English remarkably well and started shouting at me in the middle of the street. So I was like, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Apparently this lady just isn't handling her alcohol that well. But no, they were sort of trying to box me in right there on the sidewalk, claiming that I did this in order to take advantage of this girl. I can remember considering shouting back because, again, I really didn't do anything wrong. I had absolutely nothing to do with these guys and was ready to get this girl some water at 7-Eleven or something to help her out and maybe get some food after to sober up. But something in me, call it a big city wit or whatever you thought better of it, the situation was just too weird, so I decided before any further escalation would happen to just walk away. And that was the end of it, fortunately. Only later I realised how strange this was. Who were these guys and why were they following us? Was this girl somehow friends with them, and was this some sort of a scam where she would later claim I was taking advantage of her, threatening to call the police unless a spontaneous donation was made? I highly suspect something like that actually. As I said, maybe I'm being paranoid, but the situation didn't feel right and I kind of think they were all working together. Hopefully this will help your viewers out if they ever get in the same situation. Well, the giveaway was there. The writing was on the wall, wasn't it? Because he said she didn't ask for drinks. They didn't ask for drinks. The girl behind the bar gave them drinks. So straight away, you know, normal Thai girls don't hang around Sukhumvit Soi 4 in bars on their own. They just don't. You know, younger Thai girls who go out for a night entertainment, if they want to go to a club or some entertainment, they'll go to a Thai nightclub, they'll buy a bottle of Black Label mixers and they'll watch a Thai band, okay? You just don't get regular Thai girls going into expat bars to play pool by themselves. For me, the fact that she was hanging around in this bar, that's the first red flag. Secondly, she's getting free drinks from the girl behind the bar. That's the second red flag. So obviously they have some kind of connection. And what happened to him when he was walking down the street? Yeah, I absolutely agree. Something was going on. He was lucky he was able to walk away from it. But, you know, a lot of the people who scam you in Thailand are not the Thais. People assume that when you come to Thailand, all the scams are Thai people. And really, a lot of the scammers, they're actually foreigners, and they're the people you can feel vulnerable to, because you meet somebody for the first time who's from your country and he's like, hey, you know, I'll show you around, I'll be your friend, and you think, well, he's English like I am, so I'll hang out with him. And these are the guys who kind of lure you into these get rich quick schemes and take money from you and never see them again. So you've got to be on your guard. The Thais are actually not that bad, you know, as I say, especially in a place like Pattaya. Right, okay, so this is an unusual one. This is a very short story. This is a story from an Australian lady who came over to Thailand, and it was just an experience about her night out when they visited a ping pong show. If you don't know what a ping pong show is, you're going to have to look it up on Google, because I can't explain here. It's too detailed for YouTube. Okay, so let's just read out the story. Your channel popped up in my YouTube for some reason. Then I started watching you, as I have a few male friends who have been devoured in Thailand. One of these male friends brought one young woman back to Australia. Then he ended up marrying another Thai woman after buying the land, the roof, the kids, dental bills, etc. They are no longer married. Another built a bar there that didn't work either, but this is my story as an Australian woman being silly. I am a retired mental health social worker, so I guess not much surprises me. I was aged around 60 at the time, 10 years ago. My younger female friend and I were walking along a street in Bangkok near a market and were approached by several men trying to take us to a bar, but we just kept saying, no thank you. I think it was not far from Khao San Road, but not sure. After a while, we felt brave and said okay. We were ushered into a nearby bar. I asked many times, will this cost money? Because why else would they be working so hard to get us in a bar? They kept saying, it's free, don't worry. So we found ourselves in what I now know is a ping pong bar. I was fascinated. I'd never seen anything like it. It didn't feel erotic at all. Just another experience in Thailand. My friend and I bought a drink each and watched the show. I don't drink at all as a rule, but I had a beer in the bar, which was nice. I tend to be the life of the party anyway, and I'm very outgoing, so it seemed like fun to take a bat that was given to me and play ping pong with this woman on the stage. I may have also had a little cucumber shot at me. Good shot. Again, it did not feel erotic. I'm hetero and it was just a bit of fun. I felt no disrespect for the girls and admired their abilities. So I then went to the bar to buy 2 more drinks, and the guy said, "You have to buy an extra drink for someone." After watching your channel, I now understand about ladies' drinks. I said, "Who?" But he didn't explain. So I said no. We argued a bit and he got very upset and he yelled at me, "Leave now, quickly, before there is big trouble." I've never moved so fast in my life. I grabbed my friend and we were out of there. I never ever understood what happened in that bar until your channel popped up. Goodness me, they could have explained things to me. No harm was done, just another experience. Okay, so it sounds like to me she was actually in Pat Pong, because you've got the market running down the middle there. And those shows, those ping pong shows, I think they're exclusive really to Pat Pong. Somebody, if you know somewhere else where they happen, you can leave it in the description. I'm not going to be heading over there anytime soon. You know, it's the like the saying goes, if it seems too good to be true, it is. And these guys were telling the lady, you know, it's going to be free. Of course, it's not going to be free. Why would they spend their time and energy trying to get these women in the bar? As far as the ping pong shows go, a lot of people go to, when they come here for the first time, a lot of people do go into those bars to watch those kind of shows, you know, where they pop the balloons, they have ping pongs flying out of places they shouldn't be flying. And it's just very interesting. Like the lady said, it's not erotic. It's just something you won't see, as far as I know, anywhere else in the world. And it's, as a one-time experience to see it, it's something else. You know, it's another experience of Thailand, isn't it? Okay, right. We're going to go into our 4th story now. This is a final story today, a bit longer. And this is kind of a warning, but it just shows you when you meet a girl, especially in somewhere like Pattaya, and you think to yourself, she's different, it just kind of shows you how hard they can actually be, which would surprise you, okay? I hope I haven't given it away too much, but let's just get straight into the story. Hi Peter, firstly, I have been listening to your stories for a few years and thoroughly enjoy them. However, I thought it was about time for me to write to you about my time in Thailand. My story will be a little bit different, as I want to share with you some of the characters I was associated with during the 5 years I lived in Bangkok. I am an Australian lawyer, and even though I've been to Thailand 4 times for holidays, it was about October 2012 that I arrived there permanently. My job was to act as a corporate lawyer for an Australian mining company, and even though the mineral sands mining was taking place in Myanmar, the headquarters were based in Bangkok. I found out earlier on why the offices were located in Bangkok and not Myanmar. Have you ever been to Myanmar, haha? The Australian corporates were not going to base themselves in that country with Bangkok so close. Anyway, I arrived in Bangkok and rented an apartment in Fraser Suites on Soy 11. I didn't know anyone there, but my best friend in Australia knew someone who did. He used to work for my friend and said he is a great guy. His name is Barry. So not long after arriving, I called Barry and he immediately agreed to meet me. He said, "We must meet at the Q Bar, a bar very close to my apartment." In those days, Q Bar was the place to go. We immediately hit it off, and Barry was a good-looking guy, and his Thai girlfriend, called Nid, was incredibly stunning. Seriously, she could have been a Miss Thailand beauty competition. So the first characters in my story are Barry and a good-looking cool guy with a super hot chick, Nid. Well, even though Nid was a lot of fun, as soon as she had too much to drink, she literally became Dr. Jekyll. I've never seen anybody become more of a green-eyed monster than her, which is quite funny because she was so beautiful. But even Barry looked sideways at a bar girl for providing us drinks, and he would flip out and go completely crazy, accusing Barry of flirting and wanted to get her number. I have never seen anyone turn so violent so quickly. Nothing was safe when she turned like this. Glasses, bottles, anything she could get her hands on would be smashed or thrown at Barry. Well, I do know that Barry was no angel, actually, who is in Bangkok. But when he was out with Nid, he always kept his hands to himself, being fully aware of what might happen after Nid becomes drunk. Nevertheless, always the night after one of these meltdowns, they would turn up happy as ever together and ready to start the night all over again. The next character, who was one of the gang, was a wealthy guy from Sri Lanka. His name was Mahesh. He was one of the most generous guys I've ever met, and every nightclub knew him well. He always had different bottles in these clubs waiting for him and his guests to return. Anyway, Mahesh always went out with his Thai girlfriend and had an apartment in the Sukhumvit area. What I found out later on was that his live-in Thai partner stayed just on the outskirts of Bangkok in his main residence. I mean, what the heck? She was equally as beautiful as Mahesh's girlfriend, but she was not a party girl and only ever went out with Mahesh and his friends on very special occasions like his birthday, etc. His city girlfriend was not invited on those occasions. Talk about a complicated life, as if having one girl is not enough. Mahesh would party at least 5 nights a week. The next character, who was always with us, was an American guy called Steve. Steve worked for an American company based in Bangkok, and even though he became one of my closest friends, he certainly was a bit of a weird character. He would always meet us a bit later, and it was only after my Thai girlfriend told me that he was always slightly drunk that it made sense. He didn't really drink that much, but often the first thing he would order when we would meet in Oscar's bar on Soy 11, for example, was a dessert. Steve, although married, was a bit of a deviant. He loved massages. He told me he would always book a 2-hour massage. 2 hours? That's a long massage, Steve, I said. No, the first hour I give the Thai girl a massage. What? I said. Yes, because after I massage her for the first hour, trust me, the hour-long massage I receive from the Thai girl is incredible. He used to get her all warmed up. He would say, Steve, I said to him laughing, you are one of those sickest guys I've ever met. One of the other members of our group was a very large and scary guy called Reggie from South Africa. None of us really knew what he did, except he had to do with export, need I say any more. He was also extremely generous with his money, and he had a stash of cash when he went out. All the bouncers knew him, and he tipped so well to everyone, it would not have surprised me if he was allowed to bring in anything he wanted to the club. I am not too sure if he would be allowed to get away with it these days. Anyway, Peter, I have so many Thai stories having lived in Bangkok for 5 years, but I thought you might find it a bit more interesting if I described some of my fellow Farangs I used to mix with. Right, so I'm getting my stories mixed up. The intro I did is for the next story. So this next story is a Pattaya bar girl relationship story. That last story, quite interesting, just about a guy who lived here for 5 years and some of the characters he met. Thought I'd include it in this first year's upload. Right, the intro, no need for an intro. It's already been done. This is the one, and this is our final story today. I thought I would submit my story, which should be a warning to others looking for the girlfriend experience when travelling to Thailand. I thought I was pretty clued in on the knowledge of Pattaya after watching lots of videos about Thailand on several YouTube channels, including yours, Peter. So this story happened just several months ago. I travelled to Thailand for my first ever holiday, full of excitement and enthusiasm. Just like many of your other viewers, upon arriving in Thailand for the first time and travelling down to Pattaya, I was completely blown away by the heat, the smells and everything I seen around me. However, that said, I quickly settled down after checking into my hotel that I had booked on a hotel booking site back home in the UK. The hotel was located close to the beach road, so it was a fairly central location. I was going to be staying in Pattaya for around 14 days, so had plenty of time to soak it all in. On my first night, after checking in and taking a shower, I went out to explore some of the places I had seen in YouTube videos, such as Walking Street and the Beach Road Soys. I had a few drinks in some bars, but really didn't have any interaction with the ladies on my first night. I was still jet-lagged and needed a good night's sleep. The following day, waking up fully refreshed, I again went out and explored the city after lunch and came back and took a little nap to make sure I'd be completely refreshed for that evening. I started off in some small bars around Soy 8 and brought 1 or 2 ladies' drinks, but didn't really meet any girls that struck me as worth bar-fining. I decided to walk down to the beach road and try a few of the beachfront restaurants. One of the bars, I can't remember the name of it now, had some live music and had a real good vibe about it. So I bought a beer and sat next to the road to people watch and listen to the live band. After about 5 minutes, a girl came over to me and extended her hand and asked me if she could sit next to me. I thought, why not? She wasn't young, she looked to be around 40 years old, but still, she was very beautiful and had a very good figure. I found out that her name was May, or at least that is the name that she gave me. Doesn't sound very Thai, does it? But okay, May it is. She was actually great company. She spoke good English, so I ended up staying at that particular bar for most of the night and bought her several ladies' drinks. I wasn't really worried about the money as I was on holiday and had saved up quite a bit, more than I needed actually. Eventually, one thing led to the other and I ended up paying her bar fine and taking her back to my hotel, and yes, the aerobics were fantastic. The following morning I asked May if she'd like to have breakfast with me, to which she agreed. She then said she could show me around some of the tourist sites as she had a scooter which I thought was really handy, and agreed. She took me to see the Big Buddha, the Temple of Truth and some other sites around Pattaya which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed May's company. She had a charming nature about her and a good spirit. Her sense of humour was also very good. I thought to myself, why should I look for other girls? I'll just stick with May for the remainder of my holiday, if she's up for it, that is. She agreed and I had to pay her bar fine for all of the days that I stayed with her. Every day, May would nip home to her room to get changed after our day out and before dinner, so normally she would head back to her room around 4:30 p.m. and would meet up at my hotel around 6 p.m. On day 5, I was very surprised that she didn't turn up. I thought, well, maybe she's late or she has a problem. So I just sat it out, but she had still not turned up by 7:30 p.m. And I was beginning to wonder what had happened, and as we were getting on so well, and I was getting quite hungry by this point. So I thought I'll head back to her bar and find out if anybody knows what's going on. When I got to the bar, the manager told me that May had become sick and had to go home and take a few days off work. She had apologised but said she would contact me when she was better, and she was so sorry for letting me down. Something that's very important to add at this point in the story is that I had paid May up front for the week or so that I didn't have to worry about money later on. I can't remember the exact figure at this point, but it covered that time with her. I knew everything had to be paid for. Obviously, I was very disappointed that I wouldn't see May for a couple of days because I had really enjoyed her company, but thought to myself, I'd better just make the most of things by myself until I could meet her again, and perhaps I would get a bit of a refund. Naively, I thought this, of course. I had absolutely no suspicions as we got on so well. May told me I was a really decent guy, and most guys that she met didn't treat her as well as I did. She said she really enjoyed my company as much as I enjoyed hers, so in my view, she had no reason other than being sick not to turn up and meet me. I had no intentions of looking for another girl, as the aerobics for the last 4 days or so had been excellent, and I thought to myself, it's a good excuse to give my body a rest. I did the usual thing. I went around some more bars, had too much beer and decided to call it a night at about 12:30. Now, the next part of this story might sound unbelievable, but believe me, this actually happened. I had ended up in a bar in Walking Street, so I had to get back along the second road to my hotel. From watching YouTube videos, I knew not to take the BART buses that were parked up the road just around the corner from the traffic lights, but instead walk further down the road and flag one down so that I wouldn't get ripped off. For any viewer that doesn't know it, if you get into those pickup trucks that are parked up, they'll ask you for a set fee, which is much more expensive than the 10 baht fee it should be just to go straight up the road. So I flagged down a BART bus taxi, which was pretty full, but I had room to stand on the back. I got on the back platform and the bus moved off. I started to look around at the other passengers in the pickup truck, as you do, when I had the shock of my life. There, in the corner behind the driver's cab, was May cuddled up to some old guy. They were arm in arm like they were lovers. I couldn't believe it. I thought, how could she deceive me like this? I treated her well and I paid her bar fine. I'd also given her what she wanted as well as a few gifts along the way. So why would she do this to me? What was even more shocking is that when she noticed me standing there, she completely ignored me and just carried on with the old guy as if she had never met me before. I got off near my hotel and I felt sick and disgusted. I'd listened to all the stories but didn't know that Thai bar girls could be this heartless. I mean, it's not like she didn't have a customer already, is it? After this incident, I went back to her bar every night for about 3 nights to see if she would reappear, as I genuinely wanted to ask her why. As I predicted, on the 3rd night she turned up at the bar to work as usual. Now, this is the bit that really got to me more than anything else. She seen me, smiled, ran over and threw her arms around me like nothing had happened. Unbelievable, right? May apologised and told me that the guy she was with was a regular who came to Pattaya at least 3 times a year, and he always bar-fined May to spend a few days with him before he went off to Bangkok. Now, anybody listening to this story will think what I did next was really stupid, and I'm sure I'll get some very negative comments. May asked me if I wanted to buy her a drink. What the heck? She was good company. I was cheesed off that night, but I only had a day or 2 left. Needless to say, we ended up back at my hotel. It brought me crashing down to earth and reality. So to end, what I would say is this. If you go to Pattaya looking for a holiday girlfriend, you might think you found the diamond in the rough or the girl of your dreams. But for the most part, you are a customer, and the higher paying regular customers will always come before you. So take it for what it is and don't make the mistake that I did before falling for May. I did naively ask May to pay me back some money for the days she didn't turn up, but the usual excuses about having to pay bills came out, and she promised me she'd pay me back in the future. Needless to say, I'm never expecting to see that money again, and I doubt I'll ever see May again also. I did try texting her a few times from the UK, but she never replied back. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, it's Pattaya again. You know, you've got to play the game when you go down there. If you're going out on your own for a couple of weeks and you just want to have fun, you've got to realise, you know, those girls down there, they're not in Pattaya because they want to be there sitting in bars all night. You know, they're there to make money for their families, and they're going to go to the highest bidder. They might genuinely enjoy their time with you. You could be a nice guy, you take them out for food, you treat them very nice, you pay them nicely, and they genuinely do like you. But that doesn't mean they're going to be loyal to you, because paramount is earning money, okay? So if you can understand that and play the game, as people say, then hopefully you won't get burnt. Right, okay, that's it for another week. The first week of 2024. What a year 2023 was. As usual, I'm going to end as I always start, and that is short on stories. If you're sitting on a story, send it in to me. I'll change your names. I'll make it completely anonymous, and I'll read your story out right here on Thailand Bound. Once again, thanks again, guys, and I'll be here next week, hopefully, with some new stories.